Hi, I'm Apostle Regina Holiday. I spent the entire year of 2019 taking care of my husband. I was really blessed to be able to be by his bedside when he had a massive stroke while we were at the gym working out. It was devastating, of course, for me and my family and just those people that loved him and even those that knew him. And it was such a rallying. There were so many people praying for him. There were so many people supporting me during that time. I really believe that the things that we experience in life, they're just not for the person that's going through them, but they're also for those that know the person that's going through a particular thing that you love or care about. Within those 40 days, when the doctor told me that he could have surgery, but if they do surgery on his brain, that he would bleed out and he would die. Also, he said that if he didn't have surgery, that his brain would swell and he would die. So you could understand if you're dealing with this, or even if you have dealt with this from a loved one, how devastating that could be. During this time, I spent as much time as they allowed me at his bedside. We got through that phase and I'm just pouring myself into him. I've been a nurse over 35 years and it's just my nature to care and to take care of people. I spent all that time at the bedside praying for my husband and believing that God would bring him back and raise him up along with so many of you. I was not a stranger to taking care of people and neglecting myself in the midst of caring for somebody else. I reached a point in a place where I hit rock bottom to the point that I lost myself. I was so caught up in being his caregiver and concerned, wanting him to be okay, that I began to neglect myself. For that entire year, I didn't go to the doctor. I had some things going on in my own life, in my own body, that I didn't pay attention to. Again, I was no stranger to neglecting myself to care for someone else. But how many of you know that that is not the will of God? God does not want us to neglect ourselves and dig an early grave for ourselves to care for somebody else. Jesus already did that for us. He paid the price. He not just made the sacrifice, but he is the sacrifice. And once he got home, he was going through rehab and, physical rehab and everything. And I was taking him to rehab 3 times a week or however often that he was expected to go. I found myself having to pull back because the more independent he got, the more he pushed me away. And that was difficult for me because I was so used to speaking for him because he couldn't talk. He had a trach. He had 7 surgeries within that 40-day period. So it was a little bit hard for me when he began to say, no, I can tell the doctor. So I had to release and let that go so that he could begin to gain his independence back. The Lord spoke to me when he came home from the hospital, and the Lord said, you have to take your life back. And I was a little bit taken aback. I was like, take my life back? Why do I have to take my life back? And the Lord began to give me this vision about taking my life back. And I began a journey. Went through physical challenges, and I'm still going through physical challenges now. Previous, I had medical things going on, able to maintain and manage. Everything came to a head for me in 2022. I had to have a major surgery myself, had some serious issues going on, got through the surgery, and just this past June was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that has really put me in a position of physical limitations, emotional limitations that I'm working my way back from. I'm a believer that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. So that's the journey I started. I started to take my life back. Some of you might have seen videos some years ago with the bandanas and the t-shirts of taking my life back, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental, whether it's spiritual, whether it's financial, whether it's relational, whatever aspect you are fighting and you have decided to take your life back, I want you to come and join the movement. I want you to go to my website and send me an email. The website is www.reginaholiday.ministries.com, and it's a page called Taking My Life Back. just want you to click on that page and you can read a little bit more about Taking My Life Back, the movement. And I want to hear your story. There are so many people, women, men, boys, and girls that died before their time. But I want to encourage somebody to know that God has called you for such a time as this, and He's called you to live and not die, to declare the works of the Lord. There's more work for you to do. There's more things that God wants you to put your hands to. There are more people that God wants you to bless. Even in your life, God wants you to begin to change some things so that the blessings of the Lord can begin to overtake you. Every day I wore a Taking My Life Back t-shirt. And the reason I wore the t-shirt is because I wanted to be reminded, and I still wear the t-shirts often. I wanted to be reminded of the fact that I'm fighting for my life. Some points, some things, you don't feel like you have to fight for. But there's a stage and a place in your life where you have to put in the effort to fight for the life that you want to live. We're not fighting our families. We're not fighting within ourselves, but we are fighting the enemy, because the Bible tells us that we do not fight against flesh and blood. I love you all, and I pray that you will be a part of this movement. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. God bless.